Hi y'all. Let me just audio levels. There we go. Is that a good level? If not, I can turn up the mic, turn down the music. I just don't. I'm probably talking quiet, so I could probably stand to turn up the mic gain a little bit. Oh, I don't even have a gain filter on it yet. Is that better? Maybe a little higher. Hi! Yo, what's up, Mike? Hi, Brett. Do you want me to call you Brett, or should I just keep calling you Furry Thighs? Also, don't mind my face. I didn't feel like putting on makeup today. So, for all the people who are coming here and it's their first time today, I'm going to make a horrible first impression. I look like I just rolled out of bed, because I did. And that's okay. I want to normalize, like, streamers not having to wear makeup or put effort into their looks. So, if I want to dress up, it's fun. It's all fun and great and dandy. And I love dressing up. But today is not one of those days. Today is business casual. And that means Kappa t-shirt, baggy sweatpants. So, thank you. I mean, I don't, like, I'm at that point where I don't care about my looks, but I understand that it does have a factor in the number of people that are actually going to click in and watch my stream. So, but that's it. I've got to be real with you guys. I'm here to work and I'm here to do art. Look at the beautiful art, not me. But also, so this is the art that I was working on last night. I found a new streamer that I like named Whistleface. And he does like house DJ, electronic music. So I did this on his Discord. So this is my concept. I'm pretty stoked on it. Let's get some light on that. Yeah, it's a cute little watercolor. So I need to get some pictures of it. So that'll be for the inside of the art. Oop. Which controls which, right? They're intertwined. Where's my Twitch blankie? Can't decide if I want to be a teddy bear or just be a blanket burrito. It's a cold day today. It was so hot yesterday and sunny. Sorry. And then today's cold. And it gives me anxiety. I'm like, even the weather can't make up its mind. I need consistency. Also, this is a rock. This is a nice rock. I like to touch it. Okay. I actually don't have a button on here for what I need, but this is what we're working on right now. It's about to rain. I mean, I'll be happy if it rains. It's cloudiness. It's like, make up your damn mind. Are you gonna rain or are you not? I love rain, but I hate cloudy days. What's up? How you doing? Greetings, mermaid and rock. Yeah, I haven't named this rock. I have so many random rocks around my house. It helps me with the ADHD fidgets. With the little grounding technique. Because you can squish it as much as you want and it's not going to break. Anyways. So this is my concept. The whole mind over matter, brain and heart. Yeah. Are you guys working right now? Are you at work at home or... Whoops. What y'all up to today? What's on the agenda? Working from home? Nice! So you can enjoy some chill lo-fi. We could work together. So I'm using just so y'all are aware, I'm using reference photos, but I'm not trying to trace them. So that's why the line's like wonky. I'm just like using it as a kind of reference image, but I'm gonna make it my own. It was just like, it helps me to have examples when I'm making art, because it's really hard for me to draw from memory. I should probably do that vector line differently. But yeah, so and I'm using Clip Studio. That one's a bit too round. Tech and independent contractor. So you made Monday your day off? Ooh. I mean, Monday's a good day to have off because most things are open on Monday. See, that's the thing. If you get the weekend off, everything's closed on the weekend. Like, try going to a bank on a weekend or a doctor. Nope. Posting art? Yeah, I replied to your art in the Discord. It's really cool. My throat's just really sore from singing so long yesterday, so if I sound unenthusiastic, it's not that I'm unenthusiastic, it's just that I'm trying to conserve my voice and not shout so much. How's the music? Is it too quiet or is it a good volume? I'm pretty sure it's louder for me than it is for you. Because that's how I like it. I like to drown out any thoughts. Good? Okay. Just gonna fix up that line. Where is it? Cute. Hi, welcome to the chill art stream. I guess today is basically for anybody who's working from home and just wants someone to work with and hang out. Because as someone with ADHD, I find I actually work way better when I have other people around me. Working from home, I get distracted so easily because I can just do whatever I want and nobody's gonna stop me. But if I have, even if I just feel like there's people around me, it gives me that like accountability thing where it's like, oh yeah, no, we gotta get stuff done. Oh. I should just redraw that, honestly. Shh. Hi! Yo! Taylor from the Feverish Lemons, what's up? How you doing? Man with the micro trauma? Oof. Yeah, no worries. Oh man, anytime I see like, if there's 3 or more people streaming, I'm like, I have to raid you. Like, there's literally so many human lives at stake here. Like, Not one, not two, but 3 streamers for one stream. What a treat that was. Your harmonies are just glorious. And I love how you guys were like actively like working out the harmonies on stream. It's like, no, you go, ah. I was like, oh, I miss singing in a choir so bad. You love this piece? Thank you. So this is like my album art concept this is like my merch design basically. I wanted something simple, like 2 colors basically, so I could easily print it and so that it's not too flashy. Because you know me, I'm all about rainbows and shit, but a lot of my audience is like, I don't want to stand out that much. I just kind of want something that's like low key. I'm like, how do I do low key? So this is what I'm working on, but this is the actual like art for the inside. Like I always do physical art first because that makes more sense to my brain. So this is what I came up with. But then I was like, you know, if I'm gonna do a digital design version of it, I should probably use pictures of actual brains and hearts so it's more anatomically correct. Because I do have a degree after all, and people will come after me if they're like, there's no central sulci or gyri on this brain, and the heart's left ventricle is supposed to be 4 centimeters in diameter. And so, yeah. But anyways, yeah, so the album concept is Mind Over Matter, and it's a manifesto of mental health. It's basically my journey going through everything from OCD, imposter syndrome. Why are you going so far away? I'm trying to zoom in. I've got songs about, you know, dealing with death and grieving, songs about addiction, songs about surviving near-death experiences, and just like my whole journey through this thing called life. So, you didn't know that? Bro, look at my room. Look at my room for a minute. I just wanna ask you, how did you not know? but I didn't study art. I studied science. I have a degree in neuroscience. So, no art training at all. I just like to doodle. I was a chronic doodler in school. I don't know why I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD sooner, to be honest, because I literally spent more time doodling than I did taking notes. Where is it? There's the reference. What? Oh, we're on the vector. But yeah, I just started a million paintings, the background. Yeah. The literal art easel with art stacked on top of art because I'm working on so many pieces at once that I don't have enough space to put them. This is all my art, by the way. Like all of it. Except for the heart there. That heart is actually, I should be looking at that. My friend Kat Hennessy painted that. And she sold it to me for like 75. God damn it, battery. Are you serious? Why is it? Okay, I think my thing isn't actually plugged in. Hold on, give me a second. It's the second time that's happened. Oh my god, it wasn't plugged in the whole time. Crap. Oh, I unplugged the wrong thing yesterday. I thought I was unplugging my sad lamp, but I was unplugging my battery charger. I know I can use a fake battery, but it just I don't have one. Crap. Well, I have a backup camera, so I'll just grab my webcam. Just give me a second. While my battery charges. I should have known. Because that happened yesterday's stream too. I thought it was just because it was hot, but no, it's because I literally didn't have my camera plugged in. Honestly, I don't even need the fake battery because with the real battery, I get 7 hours of battery life when it's plugged in. Like, it's only if I was ever to do, God forbid, if I was ever to do another 24-hour stream, I might be in trouble. But I have 2 batteries now because I want to be doing more outdoor stuff and outdoor filming and shooting my own music videos and nature and stuff. Like, I really want to, you know my latest song, Is It Enough? I really just want to go to Gatineau Hills and just film. Just film some trees and shit and go on a hike. Like, there's this one hike trail. It's like a 3.5 hour hike, super high incline. But when you get to the top of the hill, I call it a mountain. It's not a mountain, it's a hill, but I call it a mountain because it feels like you're on top of the world. You can see everything. And I just want to get a lot of shots from up there. But I have to work up to it because I'm still in recovery from COVID. Hold on. What? Oh, I gotta reset it. You can see my little sock. Nice. And my capo that's on the ground. But yeah, I managed to do, whoops, wrong one. No. There. Webcam quality. Let's go. I managed to do an hour bike ride, so. Yeah, you're not allowed to admire my face, only the art. Doing it live. Where is it? Transform. There. Swing. Ta-da! Nobody will know the difference. Unless I go full screen. But. Just like we remember you. No! The Instagram stories fix themselves. My theory is that the algorithm bots saw how much I was complaining about it, and then they decided to be gentle with me. And they fixed it. Yeah, I had COVID back in March for like a month. It was to the point where I had a respiratory therapist have to come to my house with an oxygen tank because I kept fainting from exhaustion just by walking up the stairs. Or like, I tried to make my bed and I like fainted for like a solid hour. And Andy thought I was just taking a nap on the floor. But like I was trying to put the fitted sheet on, or no, like the duvet cover. And you have to, like, getting a duvet cover on a duvet is so impossible when you're short and have stubby arms. So I'm like wrestling with it and I'm like trying to go up inside and like get the duvet like into the corners. And I just kind of passed out into the duvet and just, I don't know, apparently I was out for like an hour. So, it was such a troll. And then someone's like, oh my gosh, you fixed it. What did you do? And I'm like, I was literally filming upside down. Like, I didn't fix it. I just did a double negative. Zion, no. Oh, it's your second time? I'm short. I'm 5'4". I get called short. I think I'm pretty average height, but that's just because all the girls I've dated are shorter than me. So... That's what makes me think I'm tall. Is every girlfriend I've ever had has been like 5 foot to like 5'4", no 5'3". Like all have been shorter than me. Cats in Texas say, "Meowdy, partner." Okay, let's get back to this work now that the camera freaking debacle thing is over. But yeah, I'm glad so many people saw it because I thought I was going crazy. Okay, where are we at? Right, we need to fix up these lines. You're 5'6". I could see that. Whoa. There we go. But yeah, I should draw you guys a lemon sometime. A little lemon fan art. I'm just so busy and like behind on all my art commissions because ADHD artists, right? We get an idea and then we have to do it. And then all of the 17,000 other ideas are like, hey, what about me? I just don't know why this line is so weird. Whatever. It's gonna be like this small. Yeah, that still bugs me. Okay. Could you please? You're 7'6". You're not 7'6". Okay, wait. You guys. I'm gonna be upsetty spaghetti, which is like a level of upset where it's like you're not really seriously upset, but still kind of bummed. If you guys don't put a damn band photo in your panels with your names above your heads, because I am not a names person, and every time I want to be like, yo, Taylor, sick drum solo, and I'm like, wait, was that one Taylor? Which one is everyone? You guys need that. You need it. There's too many lemons for me to keep track of all the names. And I apologize, like that's a me thing, but I think it would also be helpful for new people when they come in to have like a band pick with the names. Cause like, I don't know if you guys know CA in LA, Courtney and Ashley in Los Angeles. They're a music duo and I'm good friends with them. But before I met them in person, for like the first 3 months, I watched their stream. Their name is literally like in their Twitch username, and I still couldn't get the names right. But then they started putting it above their heads, and I was like, I will never forget this now. They just had like a name above their head kind of concept, so. Yeah, they're great. I got to collab with them 3 whole times. I think I've collabed, so Samuel Tucker Young is the person I've collabed with the most. And then they're second place, I think. Why is this so complicated? I know. As a streamer, it's like, I'll put it on the list of things to do, and it's like, the list is like, add proper closed captions, make a cheer sandboard, get more bit alerts, redo raid alert. Like, I've got a list too. I know what that list do. Yo, what that list do? What that list do, baby? Nothing. It just sits there and waits patiently, growing larger every day. Y'all remember my name. It's easy when there's one person. I don't know why that's the thing. As soon as, you know when you meet a new friend group and they're like, hi, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and this. And I'm like, that's 5 names. I will remember 0. But if you give me one name, I will put all my energy into remembering that one name. So that's why I think we should normalize having name tags at house parties, honestly. Like, when you come in the door to my house, here's a name tag. Put it on your shirt. This is now a business meeting. Get to know each other. Also, hi, Edu. Edu. How do you do? Sorry. I'm at that point in the day where my ADHD meds haven't quite kicked in yet. So, okay, so how do I want to do this? EDU. Is it Ed? Should I just call you Ed? Oh no. You got a baby in the house? Man, I'm so glad I have I have a cat that can't meow, and then I've got plants. So I am like sleeping like a dream these days. I just think I might need to. Nope. Yo, Ranger, what's up? How you doing? How you living? There you go. Is it possible to know what meds you take? Momo, so it's different for everybody. I know you put a kappa, but I think that was that a serious question? I'm not sure. But yeah, I take Vyvanse. Some people take Adderall, some people take Concerta. But I am on Vyvanse, which is great because it's slow release. So instead of like it hitting you all at once during the day, it's more of like a gradual buildup and slow release. Also, it's like metabolized in the liver. So I know like Adderall is a bit, it's known for being a bit more addictive because it is short release and you can snort it apparently. So, but Vyvanse is not like that at all. It's like a slow and steady kind of, it just kind of like turns down the voices in my head throughout the day, and it makes it so much like quieter in my brain so that I have room to focus on things. But it doesn't cure the ADHD. It just helps with it, you know? There's you have ADHD without the H. So yeah, they've kind of been back and forth between the ADHD and ADD thing. Basically, what they have renamed it as is it's ADHD, but there's inattentive and then there's hyperactive. And there's also combo. So I have the Wombo combo. I'm mostly on the hyperactive, but the inattentive part is like people who like just can't pay attention, they dissociate, they're often like not there, you know, because they're stuck in their head or whatever. So, but I also have the hyperactive where I'm like not just like super talkative all the time, but also like constantly stimulating myself. So whether it's like singing random songs or making noises or sound effects to everything, or having to like fidget with something in my hands or like moving my body, like unless I'm purely hyper focused or fixed on something, I'm gotta move my body. So, but then there's the inattentive type where it's like it doesn't affect them physically in that way. It's more of a just can't pay attention, kind of daydreams a lot. I mean, I prefer what I have, but that's because I don't know what it's like to have anything else, right? I don't want to make this too much like the original. I'm starting to just trace again. Right. Hold on. Was there... So this is the original. Hold on. I think I'm missing a layer. Oh, you prefer the term ADD? Why? Because it sounds nicer? Huh. Maybe okay. I think I used a different diagram when I was making my physical drawing. Whoops, where did my chat go? There you are. Yeah, if Marble would have access to your mind, they'd have a great movie. I feel you on that. Every single part of every day is just like constant movies playing in my brain. So that's why I really enjoy music and art, because it's like I get to channel all the shit that's going on, all of it, into like one concentrated unit of creativity. It's the only time I really feel at peace. Somehow my insomnia hasn't been that bad this week though. I don't know what happened, but I've been finally getting good sleep, and now it's like I can't get enough of it. I just want to sleep all the time. I'm like, oh, this shit's so good. I'm addicted. But yeah, normally I can't sleep at night. It's weird how a stimulant medication can actually help you sleep. Like, that's how you know you have ADHD, when you take a stimulant and it makes you sleepier at the end of the day. It's crazy. Okay, please don't freeze. Please don't freeze. We're gonna save. We're saving. You guys can see all the different drafts I did. There's so many different drafts. It took me like, what? Okay. No underscores, I guess. Yup, pretty much. Excuse me. Hello? Is it frozen? Why? How? Hello? Did I accidentally lock something? Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, I think it's almost there. There's just a couple of lines I might want to clean up. But that looks like a heart and a brain. It's very obvious what it is. I just want them to collide somehow. Oh shit, was I drawing on the wrong layer? I was! Crap. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, hold on. Now it's its own layer. Yay. Oh wait, but then I can do this. Merge. Yes. This is called Clip Studio. I bought a Wacom tablet. My friend recommended this to start for digital drawing. In retrospect, I probably should have just bought an iPad and gotten Procreate. I think that would have been more attuned to my style, because I'm very, like, I need to be drawing on the paper. Whereas this is like I'm drawing on a tablet but looking up at a screen, and there's a bit of a disconnect. It's a bit trickier to do. And in the end, I'm going to have to get an iPad anyways for my gigs, because my tablet that I have is so slow. It's like, it's really old and it's just awful. So, yeah. GIMP is like free Photoshop, basically. I think I have it too, but I don't use it. I just get my partner to do the Photoshop for me. He's got all the subscriptions and stuff, so. Krita? I've never heard of that one. Oh, since we probably have some artists in here, do you guys have a software that's good for font? Because I'm formatting my album and I'm good on the art part, but I'm trying to format fonts. And Clip Studio can do that, but it crashes a lot. And what I want to do is basically like take text and be able to like keep the same text tile, but like change the size of the box. Like Vizio. I'm so open to ideas because yeah, I can't use Clip for that. Photoshop's not ideal for text either. So it's like a text-based program just to format the text, and then I can make that a vector and then vectorize it on top. I could definitely, well, yeah, that's the thing is like right now I'm not spending any money until I know that I can pay for my album vinyls and the CDs too. So that's why I'm doing a Kickstarter this month. It's probably, hopefully we'll launch it next week. Like that's my goal. I'm working every day on, like every day I'm trying to spend minimum an hour, but hopefully like at least 5 hours on things like this. Like this is going to be the logo design for the center, like for the CD actual itself and for the vinyl stamp. It's also going to be the logo on the USB sticks. I'm going to make t-shirts out of it and stickers out of it. But there's just so much I want to do. So here we are, just grinding away. But that's it. I'm so excited to be able to say that everything is like I did it all, you know? Not every single thing. Like, of course, Eric also co-produced. He did all the engineering, the recording. Actually, that's not exactly true. I did some of the recording at my place. Because I wanted a specific synth sound that he didn't have. So I just created my own synths at my home studio. And then sent them off to him. But like I play the trumpet, I play saxophone, I play all the pianos, all the synths. I did synth bass. I did a lot of the production. You know, I did, yeah, I guess production and soundscaping, and like I was like, this is the vibe we're gonna go for, and this is giving me pain. This spot right here is giving me major pain. Yo, Kina! You're painting on stream. Nice. It's good that you're streaming again. I haven't seen you online. I think you usually stream in the mornings, though, which could be why I don't see you. It's because I don't exist in the mornings. Kina's actually the one who taught me how to use this program. This cursed, godforsaken program that doesn't allow me to do what I want to do. With text, I mean. You're at the studio? What studio? You have a studio now? Yeah. No, that's what I'm thinking. You know, the Wacom has served its time. It's definitely taught me a lot, but definitely looking into the iPad. Well, because that's it. Like, I want to be able to do art on the couch or go outside and like sit on a blanket under a tree and paint on a digital tablet. You know, like how cool would that be? But what is it, like $700? I think the Wacom tablet was only like $200. So like it is the cheaper option if you're a struggling artist and you just want to get something and get started. But I know, right? It's giving me anxiety too. I'm sorry. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Gonna erase it all. Let's bring back the underlayer so I can just see where I was going wrong. Once we fix it though, it's gonna be the most satisfying thing ever, right? So. But this is just what digital art is. You just press undo over and over and over again until you finally get it right. It will be perfect. Wait, I can just squish. Let me squish you. What? Nope. That's what I wanted to do. Boink, boink. Okay, let's see what you look like now. Better? No, worse. Somehow worse. All the undos. That was Keena's first lesson. Keena was like, draw a line. If you don't like it, just press undo. Don't try to fix it. Just do it again. Do it better. I'm like, this is a good wisdom. The dog of wisdom. That is a good wisdom. See, because, like, I'm just making it worse. Like, that was fine. Nope. This is fine. This is fine. That's fine. It looks fine. Now I just need to figure out what I'm doing in the middle here. I think I might just, like... Downtown in a warehouse? Where is the spot? It's probably top secret. I mean, I'm not trying to dox you or anything, but you should let me know, because that sounds fun. I could zoom in more. That's not going to make my life easier. I can zoom in to the pixel. Y'all want to see my pixels? That's how far I can zoom in to answer your question. Graphic design projects? Oh no, I would be awful for that job. Why would you think I would be good at that? Wanna Rock, I'm genuinely curious why you think I would be good at graphic design. For example, this has taken me an hour to do. Like, that's so much time for such a simple thing. Like, so for Hidden Rainbows, I think she charged, what, like $50 an emote? And for me, I'm like, people are like, that's a lot of money for like one emote. I'm like, dude, do you know how long it would take me to not only come up with the concepts for it and then actually do it? Like, I'm getting a good bargain. She's such a good artist. Keena, you should check out Hidden Rainbows. I'll give her a shout out. She's doing my emotes right now. I only have one so far. She's, you know, an artist, so it's taking time. But it's gonna be so cool when they're finally done. Yeah. I know it'll help with my mouse control, but I'm using a pen, so. But either way, I'm happy with that now. I think it looks good. Marker. Let's go. Do I want to do that? Yeah, actually, I like that. Is that just dust on my screen? Yeah, that's dust on my screen. Do you play games on stream? Occasionally, yeah. Mostly I play music on stream and do art, or I do IRL stuff. So I take chat on bike rides. We go to live shows together. We've done some beach streams before, both in Canada and in LA. I actually met a horse on stream. I have a clip of it somewhere in my downloads. Now I have to find it. Oh no, it's in my Google Drive. Never mind. Yes. No, she's a really cool emote designer. Let me find. I have the art. I put it on my new PO box stickers. But it's also gonna. I'm probably gonna, because I bought the rights to reproduce them, so I'm gonna make stickers of it too. Which is great, because if I can sell stickers of it, then I can afford to tip her more. Where is it? Desktop? Okay, so this was the sketch that she gave me originally. You guys see how cute that is? And then this is the final draft. Oh yeah, and cooking streams. I forgot. I haven't done a cooking stream in a while. how cute. So we reworked some of the colors, and I was like, you need to get my eyes. Like, this is the color of my eyes. Because that's a big thing. Like, people never know what color my eyes are. Because they're so bright that they just kind of reflect whatever is on screen. So clean. And the thing is, they're so tiny too. Like, these emotes are going to be this big, but she puts so much effort and care into them. So, but it's good for me because then, you know, stickers, I can make like pins of them, stuff like that. Which, you know, I'm so glad she had that as part of the package. She's like, you could pay an extra blah, blah, blah to buy the rights to reproduce. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Oops, that is not what I meant to do. But yeah, you should check her out. She's got tons of prints available on her website for anybody who's curious. She does a lot of like Pokemon art and like just everything's adorable. I actually have pillowcases from her. Veld, one of our mods here, sent me pillowcases, I think for my birthday last year or Christmas or something. But yeah, they're really nice quality and they're so gorgeous. And now I'm like, man, I gotta start doing art more because that's where the money's at. If I could just make prints and sell a bunch of like stickers and pillowcases. I need a Merms anime body pillow like yesterday. For real. I would sell out. Okay, why? Ooh, the vibes on this one is really nice. There we go. What? What are you doing, step bro? Okay. Whoa. The thing with digital design, I think it was One Rock, right? Brand of e-liquids. Graphics for juice. I mean, I'm always down for odd jobs. Like, if you want to commission me some graphics, I could probably do that. But if it's like a full-time thing, I don't really have time for a full-time thing. But if you're like, hey, I need 3 designs. I want a watermelon. I want a Fruit Loop. And I want a something, then I would be able to like turn it around in 2 weeks. I would give you like a sketch idea, and then if you approve it, then I would do the digital design. But like as like a commission or like an odd job, it would be one time, then yeah, for sure, hit me up. I don't know what I would charge because again, like I'm used to charging by the hour. Like I have like my studio rates and my teaching rates and stuff. And then, like, my performing rates, I do, like, a flat rate, so I don't know. I try to value my time at about, like, $40 an hour minimum, but that's the thing. With graphic design, it's a different world. And, you know, you can always pay somebody in Singapore to do it cheaper. So, that's honestly why I haven't gotten into it as a business, because I've been on Fiverr and a lot of stuff that I've, like, graphic work that I'm like, I should just outsource this. And I don't feel bad about it because for them it's a lot of money, but at the same time I'm like, well, I could never feel okay charging, you know, $50 an hour for something you could easily be paying somebody to do $10 for $10. I don't know. It's a whole ethical thing. Did you guys hear about the Freshie cashier? Like the virtual cashier? I think we're done. I'm going to save. I think that looks super cute. It's kind of balanced. So I made the brain a bit chonkier, but the heart, it like balances out, right? Because I'm obsessed with symmetry. But because the heart has these valves, the valves go further. Also, I need to center it. This is not centered. Or is it? It's almost centered. It needs to be over a little bit. Yeah, It looks pretty even to my eyes too, and that's hard to do because the brand and the heart are two completely different shapes. So, okay. Cool. I'm gonna save as Mind Matter logo V1.0. Thank you! Did you see, wait, were you here when I showed the full? I wonder if my camera's charged enough. Because I'm using my webcam right now. Let's see. Hello. Darkness consumes me. 1 second. Okay, there we go. It's gonna work for a second, but I'll switch back to webcam. But this was like the watercolor. Let me turn on my light. I don't like working with lights when I'm doing design because my eyes are already tired enough. I did this last night. I really love like the colors and the splashiness of watercolors, so I figured it was like, yeah, but the thing is, if I'm making t-shirts, then I have to do this. Or I can't do this, sorry. For t-shirts, I need something more simple to print because this will not translate on print. This will work maybe as a sticker or an art print, but yeah, this is like my original kind of design. So that's gonna be where all the, yeah, I'm a texture noob. A texture simp. So that's one of the arts. Aw, yeah, that would be great, Wanna Rock. Heart and mind. Yeah, mind over matter. Came for the Whistleface stream. No freaking way. Were you in the Discord? I was streaming the art. I was just telling Chad about the art. I was like making art while listening to Whistleface's stream. And he had like a whole Discord. Like I hopped in his Discord. I was like, how is there like 12 people on a call right now? And then I hopped in and everyone was just like vibing to the music. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hop in here and do my art real quick. So I don't know if I want to fix up any of these lines because honestly, it just looks like an actual brain. So now let's center. Is it still blue? Am I going blind? It's the light. I literally can't have light on my face. Otherwise I can't see properly. So photosensitive. Like that's white, that's blue, that's white, that's blue. I had to finish a paper. What you studying? Okay. And now to look at fonts for 5 hours. Google. Let's just use Google Fonts. I don't want to have to pay licensing today. I'm a starving artist. No licensing fees, please. A pastel fill color? I'm not trying to fill it. So the whole concept is that it's like a vector-based logo. Does he have? Yeah, the title is Mind Over Matter. It's written like mind and then over matter. But for the sake of like distributing it and everything, I'm gonna have to just write it as mind over matter because I feel like if I put a slash in a title, they're gonna get confused. But this is the, wait, before I go into fonts, let me just show you the artwork that I have completed so far. Actually, maybe I should do that on this window. Just in case. Don't want to leak any info. Where is it? Amethyst. Is it that one? Is this one? Oh my gosh, who's up? Ras! Raspbeer, welcome back for 29 months. So this is the album cover that I designed. I did all the makeup and hair myself, obviously, because I'm a freaking weirdo. And I just got Andy to take some pictures of me in the back. The whole photo shoot turned out really cool. Can I show you guys? Like, I think modeling is such a cool art form because it's like the human body, but you can do so many creative ways. Like, it's not even about beauty. It's about, I should say, it's not about beauty in the standard media portrayal of beauty. It's more about, like testing the limits of creativity. Because I was going to make a lyric booklet, and that kind of turned out to be way too much work. And I'm like, I want to get this done. I'm not putting another week's worth of work on the album that's already, like, I just got the masters back for it. So it's pretty much done. I just need to finish the art and then start the fundraising for it. But I didn't want to start crowdfunding until I knew it was done, you know, because that was the issue last year is I was going to start a Kickstarter, but Eric wasn't available to finish the album, so. Okay. So a lot of these, they're in RAW format, so my computer reads them kind of weird, but these are all the photos. I didn't delete any. This is just like the actual footage. They turned out really dark because it was like sunset. Yeah, I love my makeup. I think my makeup and my hair is so creative. I love these two side by side. Like, oh, it's so artistic. This one just hits different. Because it was actually unintentional. I was going to fix my hair, but the way the hands are posed is like really neat. This one I love. Love, 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 love! You wanna, wait, there's so many. That one, you mean? You can see the file names on the top, by the way, if you have a computer screen big enough. So you can say the number there. That one? Wanna Rock? Actually, yeah, Discord would probably be best. Let's touch base there, and then we could do things by email. I'll get you my email. But yeah, what time frame? I don't know which one you're talking about, so I'm just going to keep showing you all the pics. Because there's a delay between the stream and your chat. This one's also cute. I love this one too. I can't decide. I can only pick... So, because there is the front cover one, but I want to pick a couple for the inside as well. This one, I love... The skin texture, I would not Photoshop that. Like, you can see my little fine lines. You can see all my little bumpies, my little beauty marks. Like, I'm in love with my fucking lens on my camera. It's so good. The smirk one, that one. Hee hee, my little dimple. Boop, boop. Okay, maybe that one. They're all so cool. I can't decide. My eye looks so big in this for no reason. For no reason. These ones are so cool though. I forgot about the mirror. This was my idea. I brought the mirror out because I needed to see what I looked like, and then Andy was like, oh, and you can see all my little freckles. They're so cool. My giant ass elbow. I still had the metal in when I took this photo. You can see the metal bulging out of my skin. Narcissist reimagined. See, like, so right now I'm looking for. Yeah, that's kind of it. The feeling of the album is like a tale of struggle and triumph. It's kind of like it's portraying my softest, most authentic side going through all of these, like, you know, traumatic experiences and working through them through the power of music and art and creativity. So that's kind of it. It's also like an introspective album. It's looking into myself and seeing what's inside and, you know, trying to find that beauty in all of the pain and realize how, you know, like being grateful for sorrow is something that's very tricky, but it's something I've been working on in therapy, is like how to not only like forgive the people who have hurt you in the past, but to also be grateful for the hurt that they caused, because it shapes you into the person that you are now, and it gives you that depth and that understanding and makes you a more three-dimensional person, you know? I should write that down. Write it down, because every time I have like interviews and stuff, I feel like I try to word it and I never get the words quite right. But like even these, they're so blurry, but they would be great because right now, so I'm looking for a photo for the inside. So, you know, on the inside you have, I have my albums here. I had my albums here. Okay, well, I have some signed ones over here. I still have to mail these out. Okay, so front cover, already got that. Back cover, already got that. It's the inside that I'm working on. So this photo right here is what I'm looking for, and then the CD is gonna be the brand logo that we were just working on. So this is gonna have text over top of it, so it can't be too good. If it's too good, then I won't want to put any text over it. That was just me being smiley. And they all need to be recolored, but creepy. Anyways, that's enough of that. So this is the front cover. This is what it looks like when it's recolored to be like the actual representation. I think we actually turned the purples more blue, but I created the text myself. I didn't want to use any text. I was like, I'm going to make my own font. So yeah, it's an equation. It's mind over matter. It's like a fraction. Thank you for the new follows, by the way. I usually stream music, but we're doing art today. And let's see. And this is the back cover concept. I just really love this shoot that I did with Anita, and I just really wanted it to be on the album. It doesn't fit in with the theme as much, but I do like the concept of like a chrysalis, because this whole album has felt like a chrysalis. Like I have molded myself down into mush and rebuilt myself completely since I started this album. Like literally and metaphorically and mentally. Like literally I shattered my fucking bones in the process of this and had to be surgically emergency repaired. Had metal rods all up in me and screws and bolts and pins. Go through all that pain. Then I had my guts rearranged by a Cuban gut virus and had gastroenteritis and intestinal distress for like 4 months. So my entire like insides have been kerchungled. I don't even know. It's been crazy. All right, type something. Let's look at fonts. Down is not on the album. No, it hasn't been. We were gonna add it, but we don't have time. Like, if I put Down on the album, it's not gonna come out for another fucking 6 months at least. My producer just is too busy. I still owe you guys Down, though. I know. I just... That's the thing. I set up all these like goals and then I can never actually meet them. That's the goal, is producing myself. I know exactly what I want. I just need to see it. That's kind of nice. Cabin. Ooh, weird. Oh, I actually already have that one downloaded. That one's kind of childish, but I like it. I might actually just download it for the sake of downloading it. Oh? I like you too. I think I already have you. But yeah, the goal is to teach myself how to do production. I mean, I've taught myself so much over this COVID fucking pandemic. Like, I guess I got really sad for a while, and then I was like, well, what are the things that I've always wanted to do but never done? Because, like, I can't travel. I already did a lot of traveling in 2019 before everything went to shit. So I'm glad I did that. And I was like, what can I do with myself? Like, with my own time. With nobody else. And it's like, learn. I want to learn more stuff. I want to learn how to produce. I want to learn how to do digital art. I taught myself how to do macrame. You know, I really want to learn to sew and design my own clothes. And I'm actually going to be doing that. I'm going to be making my own Blues Fest outfit this year. My designer's just unfortunately too busy with her own projects and, you know, mental health stuff. So I have the design. I think I posted it in the Discord, but I'm trying not to leak the design because I don't want people to steal it. Because that happens so much in the fashion industry. Especially because I'm just like a small nobody that's like only ever writes stuff in their notebook. Okay. This one's kind of nice. We got the typewriter vibes. Before June? Okay, cool. Yeah, that would be good. So just so you know what's on my plate, I have to finish this art. I have to do a Kickstarter. I have to get my stuff sent off to vinyls and CD printing once it's finally done. And the Kickstarter is like a big thing. Like, I can't do anything until the Kickstarter is launched because that's like, it needs to get launched sooner rather than later so I can start making the money so that I can recoup the costs. Cause it is going to be about $8,000 to like print everything. If I want to do, cause I was thinking of doing 500 CDs, 300 vinyls, 100 USBs. And like, I'm rethinking because like realistically, am I going to be able to sell 500 CDs? I think so. But it'll take some time. So that's the thing. Like, do I want to get them all at once or should I do 300 and then get 200 later? Like, I don't know. It's a lot to think about. This one's kind of cool. I want it to be bold and simple. Okay. Oh, I like you. Syncopate. Oh my god. Wait, don't I already have that one? No, I have a similar one though. Syncopate. This is my favorite part about graphic design is fonts. I was such a chronic doodler, and like one of the most things I would doodle is like lyrics. I would write down the lyrics of whatever song I was listening to, and I would make up my own fonts and stuff. This one's also cool, but it doesn't strike me as much as the Syncopate did. This one looks nice. That's more of like a hand... This is actually what my handwriting looks like, honestly. Why are you so skinny? That hurts my brain. This one looks like every resto bar ever uses this font. I swear to God. I already have that one, I think. That's kind of cute. I don't know. I have so many things that are just oddly satisfying for me, and fonts is one of them. I could look at fonts forever. What about you guys? What's your weird, oddly satisfying thing? I know there's at least some people in here. There's the popping people, and then there's the chiropractor cracking people. Like when your bones crack. I can't do the bone cracks. I hate it. But popping, like pimple popping or cyst popping, it gets me. This one's nice, but for a different reason. Like, not for this project, but I'm saving it just because I'll probably use it for something else. This also looks like my actual handwriting. This is my typical font too. Popping packing bubbles? Yes. Oh, so good. I wonder if that's where my popping thing came from. Was just like with actual bubbles. But now I have these things. Fidget poppers. And you can like... It makes a noise and it's really satisfying. So whenever I'm not working, whenever I'm just talking, I have like this in one hand so that I don't pick at my face. Pretty much. This one's also, I like the N. Oh, this one looks like some Alice in Wonderland shit. Comic Sans. Do you know how many people would come for me if I used Comic Sans on my actual album? I might download this one. See, because the other thing I was thinking of is for every song title, I could do a different font on the inside. But that sounds like so much extra work. Unnecessary work. I forgot I had coffee. Also cool. This looks like Star Trek font. Let's try that one. So it was Syncopate and then Gucci. Now I have to download all of them. This is the fun part. Yeah, there's a lot of like typical, what do you call it? Default fonts. But that's the thing is with the album, it's something that's creative enough that you kind of need to do something that nobody's going to recognize right off the bat. Because that's the thing, I can recognize, I'm like, oh, that's Helvetica, oh, that's Times New Roman, that's Calibri, that's Verdana, that's not Arial, it's Verdana. Like, I want something that's going to be like, ooh, that's fresh. My eyes don't know what this is. That's so cool with the glyphs. I mean, I had a class, I think it was history class in grade school. They taught us like Egyptian hieroglyphs. And we got to write a letter in hieroglyphs. And I love it. I'm like, this is like art. But when you think about it, our alphabetic system is kind of artistic too. We just don't see it that way because we're so used to it. So when we see fonts like Japanese script or Chinese like Mandarin script or hieroglyphics, I was like, wow, it's so pretty. My Instagram is blowing the fuck up right now. Stop, I'm working. I also want to learn how to make lo-fi beats so I can make my own lo-fi beats. Okay. I'm gonna close. Oh yeah, I know there's like all sorts of cool sci-fi fonts out there. Look how poofy my hair is. Oh cool, I have bangs now. Let's go. Okay. Oops. So let's see. I'm gonna start with the one that I wanted. Whoa, not that one. Come on. Oh, this was the weird one. Hee. I feel like that would be too small. That one's also cool, but it's not free, unfortunately. So let me just Google that real quick. What was it called? L'acquire. How do I acquire? It says it's free for personal use. Yeah, okay. For full version. $15. But if I pay $15, then I can use it for whatever the hell I want. Do we like it enough to spend $15 on it? Yeah, I was listening to like lo-fi and jazz. My hair is chaotic as fuck right now. What do you think, chat? Do we like the font enough to spend money on it? Whoa. Okay, well, I'm gonna make a new layer. Tabernacle. I think I just like how boxy it is. Like it's like a perfect square. Like this one is just, I don't know why it makes it my default script, but it's like my mermaid unicorn font. One of my mermaid unicorn fonts. I still can't pick a font for myself. It used to be Lobster, and then it was Bratsy Scripts, and then it was, you know, Worcestershire something something. Syncopate. So I like this one too, but it's very skinny. So because I have an edge on it, it looks thick. But wait, no. Come on. So if I make it bold. Okay, the other question is what's the background color gonna be? Because I just put, I naturally put blue as a background because it's less abrasive to my eyes than white. But what if I do a gradient? What? Heck. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that was a thing. What the fuck? Oh, I have to go down here? It's also sneakily gonna be the bisexual pride flag, I guess. And then... No, that's a trans flag. Wait, what color was this? Okay. I mean, let's see what it looks like. Nope. Don't like that. Have fun with your teaching. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. The font's on my video overlay? What font? This one? This is called Syncopate. Actually, this might work. I'm gonna change the colors a little bit though. This one feels too green. Okay, wait. Let's see. Maybe I like it. Okay, let's fix this font. Can you mask the background color to the... Why would I mask it? What if I make you swing? I still need to center all of this. I'm just playing with ideas for now. Can I make the edge a gradient? Probably not. Blech! Don't like that. Oh, you mean so that it's, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. It would take me time though, and I don't see why I would do it. So, for basically what I'm working on right now is, this is going to be the CD itself. So this is going to be this, right? So, it needs to have some sort of background color. And I can mess around with the background too. I can add texture. I could put, you know, I'll probably go look at some stock photos of like, actually, shall we do that now? Right now I'm just trying to decide on a font, but also the font might change based on the background. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with this font. I really like it. Even though it's not free, I'm gonna have to pay for the licensing for it, but I mean, it's gonna be worth it because I think this font is so cool. The only issue is I don't want it to block out too much of the actual art. And the red here has got to be different enough that it's legible. The other thing could be that I could do one of them blue and one of them red. Like do the inverse. That's kind of dope. Wait, but then this would have to be a blue outline, right? Wait, how come I can't? Oh, I would have to make them two separate ones. But. Okay, so without the background. Where's my background layer? Hello? Hello? But use a shadow instead. So I don't know if I can do that on this program. I have tried to figure that out. Let me see. I'm gonna have to get my glasses in a second. Yeah, I could also do that. I've done that before. I'm just like, again, this is, yeah, it's gotta be, it's like simple the better. Like keep it simple, stupid is kind of the concept, because like for the actual vinyl label, it's gonna be like that big, right? And there's gonna be a hole cut out of the center of it too. So that's why I'm putting the font up and down. So if you think about this, I'm gonna have to create another layer. Hold on. Hello? There we go. Shapes, balloon, figure. Okay. Oh, there we go. What the heck? Okay. Why is it not working? I just wanted to draw a circle. Hello? Maybe I have to be a raster? Come on. Hello? Ugh, I probably, oh. Have to do it with my pen or it's gonna get mad at me. What are you? What? Anyways, what I'm trying to do is draw a fucking circle. It's going to be a circle. I can't draw a circle though. That's why we have digital art programs. So it's gonna get cut off. I want tiramisu. Backseating. The two text fields should be moved closer to each other, not by much, but a bit. Yeah. No, I'm trying to get a circle so I can even see what it's gonna look like. Oh, no. Because here's the thing. Album art, CD things. This is what it's... Actually, you know what I should do? Well, no, this is a PDF. Can I print it as a JPEG? Fuck. Does anybody know how to quickly turn a PDF into a vector file? I know Andy can do it, but he's busy and he's in the other room. I'm just gonna email it to him anyways. Wait, what the hell is this? Why am I on Edge? Okay. I need more coffee. Okay, I gotta go to the bathroom and grab more coffee real quick. I will be right back. Swing. Wait, that was the wrong thing. Where's my chat? There's my chat. Hello, chat. Thank you. I am muted. Nice hair. Yeah, this is my messy bun hair. Sorry, I was just saying I could screenshot it and then it'll be a picture. But the thing is, if I do it that way, then it's not a vector. And having it as a vector file with a transparent background means that I can switch the layers back and forth so that I can overlay it on top. And that's kind of important. Hello. Yeah, that's weird how if I unmute on one page, then it's still muted on the other. It's weird. OBS thing. There we go. Cute. All right. So I just gotta wait on him for that. But in the meantime, I want to see some grid lines. I should have grabbed my glasses while I was downstairs. Okay, that's much better. Yeah, well the thing is Andy can do it like in like 2 seconds. He's just busy right now. Hi Techo, welcome. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a bit. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. So 1, 2, 3, and 1. No, it is centered. Pretty much. Actually, maybe it's cool to have them separated a little bit. Yeah, because then there's 2 on the out, 2 on the out. Yeah, that's centered pretty well. Thank you! Thank you so much. Did you see you saw the watercolor one? And he's a wizard because he went to a high school that taught Photoshop in class. Whereas my high school was so shitty that they almost canceled the calculus class. Like, they almost just didn't teach us math because nobody wanted to do math. Like, height-wise, actually not perfectly centered, but yeah. So wait, let me move it up a bit then. There we go. Wacko! Thank you for the 48 months. One of the OG beans in here. Look at that beautiful pineapple. Wait a second. 48 months. That's 4 years. I don't have a 4-year badge yet. I've been streaming on Twitch for 4 years. Wait. I have 50. Oh my god. I need a 4-year badge. Maybe we'll have to design that today too. I just uploaded the 3-year badge like 5 months ago. I feel like that was yesterday. And now we need a 4-year badge? Crazy. 48 heckin' months. That's so wild to me. That's so wild to me, because not only have you been following for at least 48 months, you've been subbed for all of that time. Even the times when I wasn't streaming, because I was too sick. So thank you so much, Wacko Llama. That's unreal. That's so cool. Alright. Okay, so let's go back to fonts. Well, obviously the colors are not going to be that. What about... Let's try one more different style of font, just to see. Just for shits and giggles while we wait for Andy. Yes, Capristan Papi! Wait, you're Teeny Giant's homie, right? This is not the cover, this is like for on the CD. I'll show you the cover. I did all the art for this album. That's the cover. That's me. There's me. I did the craziest makeup, the craziest hair, and then I made my own font. And then I overlaid a picture of an amethyst. And then this one's like various different random canvases and flowers to make it really like unique, you know? I didn't want it to be anything that's ever been seen before, right? So people are like, just use Comic Sans font. I'm like, I will die before I use Comic Sans font. I had a physics professor in university that used Comic Sans for physics. Do you know how horrible physics is? And then you have to go and make it worse by using Comic Sans. This one I overlaid a picture of sheet metal, I think it was. So it's got really cool texture. That's the back cover. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so for those of you who are like kind of newish here in the past month or so, I have rainbow hair. Like, this is what my hair usually looks like. So for me, hair is like a very powerful, like, I'm not like religious, but like I have like weird kind of witchy beliefs, I guess. Like I believe in the power of hair, and my hair is like a representation of me, like the length, the color, is it in good shape, like what's it looking like it's very much your energy is in your hair. if that makes sense. So for me, I like to be vibrant and colorful, but every year I go through metamorphosis, right? With the seasons changing. So April, I go back to blonde because for me, April's kind of my new year. Like, it's my birthday in April, but also I like to see spring is the first season, right? Because the calendar starts in January. This makes no sense. We start in the middle of winter. Like, not even at the beginning of winter. We start like halfway through winter. But if you when you're learning the seasons in kindergarten, it goes spring, summer, autumn, winter. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. But spring doesn't even start till the end of March. So for me, it's like, this is like my new year hair. We're like revamping, reimagining, reinventing ourselves and going into the next season, you know? So for the beginning of spring, I go, not bald, what's the word? Like blank canvas. And then I decide who I'm gonna be moving forward, so. But yeah, my hair's always rainbow, except for when it's not, which is when I wear wigs or in the month of April. But it's May now, so for me, it's like a symbol of like accomplishment. Like, I haven't earned my rainbow yet. When I finish this album, I will earn my rainbow and I will be back to rainbow hair. I don't know. Blame it on the OCD, man, but I just have, that's like my religion, is my hair. If that makes any sense. Anyways, yeah, so that's the front and back cover. The inside cover is in my other room. It's like a physical painting. And this is going to be like the logo for like the actual CD, but I'm also going to make stickers and possibly t-shirts. Because I think this is like a dope logo. But we're playing with the fonts. Because I'm also like a font, I'm so particular about fonts. Like, it's stupid. Okay, wait, what are the ones we just got? We got Googie. Anyways, how you been, Capri-san? What? I think last time I saw your stream, you were peeling an egg. Is that correct? Yeah, I tuned in. I was like, how long is this gonna go on for? Just like, you know how like, for some reason when people are doing subathons and then they go to sleep on stream, somehow their viewers are higher than what they would be if they weren't sleeping? Oh yeah, this is another cool one. If I do this. This one's also pretty cool. And this one would be a Google font, so I don't have to pay for licensing, so that's a plus. It's a good egg. It really made me want eggs. I was like, I need a fucking deviled egg in my mouth right now. I've never made deviled eggs. I don't know how to do it, but I want to learn because they're my favorite thing. That's how you know I'm weird. Like, I actually enjoy deviled eggs. I see so many memes about people like hating on deviled eggs, and I'm like, bro, it's literally like the best texture ever. And the fluff and the little bit of paprika. Yeah, pretty much. The whole will be the over. Well, that's it. I'm probably going to have a line. Like, I'm also going to put a line straight down the middle. Kind of like how I did. So with the front cover, like, I'm sneaky about this. This is like, I like to have multiple meanings. But this is the line right there. I put over there just for the sake of, like, being sneaky about it. But this is an equation, right? It's a fraction. Mind over matter. That's why the T lines is that long. It's because that represents like the equation. You divide matter by matter into mind, you know? Ugh, I'm so mathematical. Yes. Actually, I like this one too, but it feels almost like it's a science, like Bill Nye the Science Guy vibes. Whereas this one is more like, I don't even know. Not Bill Nye the Science Guy, but like science. And then this one's just kind of like, I mean, the coloring is wrong. So let me fix the coloring so I don't hate it so much. What? Oh. That's skinny. Ugh. This is why I can't have nice things, is because it's a simple thing. It's which font do you like better? But I have a really hard time making up my mind. Oh, because this one, like that, this one looks so cool. I love the dots. But this one is also speaking to me because of the lines. Wait, why not both? Why not both? What if we do... Now, hear me out. What if we do... By God, I think we've got it. Or is it by George? How does that saying go? By George, I think she's got it. Oh my God. Yes! 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 No, I don't need a poll anymore. Well, because that's the other thing too, is all about the contrast, right? So blue and red, pulmonary and carotid, you know? Like the blood going out is red, blood coming back is blue. Your mind is the blue and then the heart is the red, you know? It's like blue represents more thinking and cognitive, whereas red is like passion. It's a color of passion. And blood and sweat and tears. I love that. Okay. That was it. That's all we had to do. Okay, now I need to go pay for this license real quick. Let's go buy some fonts because download with a membership. No. Wait, I have to pay per month? Please. Hold up. Let me check. Because I thought when you buy a license to use a font, you buy the license to use it, not buy it per... Let's see. How does this work? What is Webfront? Does anybody know how font licensing works? I thought you just paid up front. That's what I've done in the past. Hi, Tom. You just finished New Year's Eve stream part 3. The New Year's Eve stream is so long. You're not going to make it through all that. And the birthday party stream isn't available because it got blocked on YouTube. So what I will have to do is go back and mute all the music. And I'm so lazy, dude. Okay. The fuck? I don't use Outlook. Get out of here. But the thing is, if I email them, they'll probably never get back to me. Like, what are the chances that somebody actually checks that email? Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'll go back to the Clip Studio. I'm not showing you guys my email. It's Liquire, right? Let's see. If they get back to me today, I'm gonna shit and then I'm gonna use it. I was typing slow. But if they don't, then I'm just going to cry. Either that or I'm just gonna go ahead with it and then wait for them to get back to me. Which I know is not the way you do things, so. But that's just it. Like, I don't want to pay $100 for a font because I can find another font that looks like this but is free. Or I can literally draw, like not trace, but I can draw a font similar to it. Like, that's why with the front cover, I just drew my own font. Like, I'm sure there's fonts similar to it, but I just think that's too fucking cool. Like, the contrast of this is very lines, very linear for your mind, and then the matter is more blobby in the circles. Keyboard ASMR. Merbs is cool at Yahoo. No. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have my email available to the public. It's just, I get enough spam and, like, subscription mail. I don't want random people on Twitch emailing me to be like, hello, how much for being my wife? Please come to Brazil. You know? Okay. So what are we gonna do for the background, then? Honestly, I think it looks sick with just white. But... what am I doing? This needs to be... No. Undo. Sick. Come be my wife. I cook, I clean. You give me sucky sucky 10 times a day. We can work something out. Oh, nope, didn't mean to do that. Swing. There we go. $10? That's it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It doesn't feel as centered though if I put it there. Eh. Okay. Pretty much, Bagheera, that's it. This is what a mermaid brain looks like. We just have hearts in our brains. Okay, background. Let's look at some... I'm still waiting for Andy to get me the vectors. Was it? Fuck, what is the website called? It's like, it's... Okay. Pexels, that was it. Whoa. Just want to make sure these are all free. Yeah, they're all free. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Dude. Hold up. What the heck? How come some of these work and some of them don't? Whoa. Whoa! I mean, that's cool. This is what the normal one looks like. Okay, let's keep looking at stuff though. Make the text field the same width of the image and use center text. Right, I could do that. I could do that. That would be the smart thing to do, wouldn't it? This one's cool. What if I do half and half? What if I do half and half? What if I do half and half? Oh, this is so freaking cool too. What the hell? Okay. Whoa! Wow. Okay, okay. Let's try some of these. Phone, could you just please shut up? Wait. It's too dark, but it looks so cool. Oh my god. Yeah, the flow is kind of cool. Wait. None of these things are working. Why? Oh no, I have the files for the CD. I just it might be different than the one that I need because the people who I'm printing my CDs with sent me the actual thing. Wait, can I rasterize and then huh? Hello? Where did the window go? Oh, it's over on this. There we go. I love playing with this. Okay. Keep the original hue. Saturate. Kind of cool. We'll keep that one. Okay, let's see, what's this one? Oh my god, this one's so neat! I just feel like maybe it's too distracting from the logo though. Yeah. How can I work around that? Okay, let me see. Truthiness! Thank you for the bits. I'm so focused right now. I'm like, I really want to use this one. That's actually, that kind of works. What do you guys think? Is it still too distracting? This is the other one that we had underneath. Oh, that's why. Whoa! I didn't even realize I was combining two. What the fuck? That is kind of dope. I'm kind of living for that. Okay. Okay, but now, hold on, let me just keep playing with it. I probably shouldn't be playing with this much till I have the actual vector because it's gonna have to be bigger than this, I think, to fit it all. But that one's really cool. What was the other ones I saved? Just to see. That would be the other option, is we can do... Am I a creative genius? Chat, I need your feedback. Feel free to backseat. What do you think? Left mermaid, right unicorn. Right? The duality. The duality of it all. Hot damn. Oh my god, I think I like that. Okay, what was the other one we had? This was... Oh yeah, that was the first one we tried out. Bro, that's so much doper than I ever thought it was gonna be. I still have to center it and everything, but like... Let me just see what I think it was this one? That was the original what it looked like, and then I turned it into that. Okay, I'm gonna poke Andy and see if... Actually, wait, I should just check my email. Okay. No, still didn't get back to me. Okay. Let me just... Boop, boop, boop. Oh, in the bathroom? What happens if I invert the colors? Let me check. I could try that. You're talking about just the background colors? What do you mean? Do you mean like put the right side on the left side and the left side on the right side? Or do you mean take the actual this color and invert it? That actually looks cool too. Fuck, now I can't decide. The whole, I don't even, what? I kind of like this being on this side because this feels more like blood cells and like, well, because it is literal cells, like they're my cells. My cells as in M-I-C-E-L-L-E-S, not my cells. Left one mermaid. Keep in mind it's going to be this small, so... What I might do is... Well, first of all, we can delete the layers we're not using. And then save this first of all. Before we do anything, save it as version 2.0. We like this one better? Let's try it. Let's just test out what Cody was saying after it saves, which is going to take a million years because, you know. Okay. No, I'm not yawning. You're yawning. It's this one, right? You want to see what happens if I invert it. Okay, edit. Tonal correction. You mean invert the colors? So I don't know how I would do that. Reverse? Methinks no. This isn't GIMP though. This is Clip Studio. Maybe is this one? Subtract. Yeah, that's basically what invert is. Andy? Hold on, I'm just gonna poke him. Andy? I was just gonna ask, could you do that vector thing really quick? I basically finished, I just need the vector to map it. Okay. Well, I'm not allowed to be mad because he's literally doing stuff for free, so. Okay, let's see. I guess I still have to wait for the font people to get back to me too, but. I don't know what else to do. I think I figured it out. Let's see. Okay, wait. Right. We're deleting the layers we're not using, so we're not using that. Oops. No. Okay, so let's duplicate that, duplicate that. Whoops. Nobody saw that. All right, and now we will go into our vector, and we are gonna thicken. I love vectors, man. It makes art so much easier. Oh. So that's the before, and then after we got it nice and thick. Actually, let's keep it thickening this one. What is that? Excuse me? All right. So we started with just that, nothing else. I mean, that still looks pretty cool for a logo. I'm just waiting on Andy at this point. How are we doing, chat? How's everybody doing? Are you working? Working from home? Just chilling? Trying to learn? Yay! Working from home? Nice. Yeah, I find it's nice when you're working to have like at least one thing going on in the background. I guess I could start working on the hentai commissions. Wait, what? You mean you draw? I know you do the cannabis stuff, but I didn't know you did hentai commissions too. That's crazy. Alright. So... let me just double check the formatting. Yeah, it's just 12 inch by 12 inch. Okay. Yeah. You sent them? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. Did you send them in my email? Oh, there they go. Okay. First of all, save as CD version. That checks out, yeah. People are like, I don't want to spend money on an artisanal joint. I just need the bare minimum to get high. Wait, it actually almost fits. Okay. Is there... how do I center you? I don't know. Okay, edit. Tabernacle. Okay. There we go. Ah, great. Okay. So now what we need to do is... actually, if I made the Matter font smaller... Matter, there you are. So, I can't remember, I think it was Fox2 was saying... oh, people just stop smoking altogether. Yeah, honestly, I haven't really been smoking weed except for CBD because I have to be productive. Weed is not productive for the stuff that I'm doing now. Like, it was fine and dandy when you're just dicking around making music, but it fucks your voice up too. Let's make you smaller a little bit. There. And then Where's my CD layer? Oh, there it is. Wait, can I not do it? What? It's the hand tool? No. There we go. That doesn't feel centered. Okay. 2 events lined up? Nice. Yeah, everybody's smoking by themselves. That's true. Yeah, mostly like the stuff that you roll is so big, it would take like 10 people to smoke it. So, is it this one? Whoa! No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh crap, because I rasterized it. Am I gonna have to do it again? Wait, can I? Let me out. Actually, wait, can I just see you? How do I see only this layer? Okay, whatever. I'm going to try and see if I can do this. Hold on. Okay. Easy peasy, squeezing a lemon. Let's do the same thing with this guy. Oh, wait. There we go. What? Why can't I scale you? ¿Por qué? Oh, this one's a vector? That makes sense. Okay. The game that you made? No, wait, what? What was the game you made? Nice background image. Thank you. I didn't make it. I took it from stock photos for free. Haha. Yeah, close enough. It bugs me that the grid isn't centered, though. Okay, wait. Center. Is the CD centered? It looks centered. Okay. Okay, now we get to the nitty-gritty of making this perfectly symmetrical. Sheesh. I'm gonna die. Coffee, please. Hi, Pro Andrea. Okay. I can't even see the grid lines. What did I do? What did I do? Why are you laughing at me? Did I do something funny? Wait, you made a hentai game out of joints? I don't even... Oh, right now it's top and bottom it. Okay. That's about it. Yeah, if you're tired, don't worry about it. It's not gonna get done today anyways. Should I have my name on it or just like that? Like, that's pretty freaking cool. I don't think I need my name on it. Cool, whoops. Let's export it and see what it looks like. Why are you so pixel? I guess because it's a small thing. It'll be actually about... Oh, let me grab my CD. It's actually gonna be that big. That's freaking cool, dude. That is so cool. Well, that's like a lot done. Wow. Look at that. I think I lost some of the color palette, but I'm still happy with it. Oh no, are we dropping frames? I think you'll be able to use it if I give it to him like that. You just woke up. I've been streaming for about, oh my god, almost 3 hours? Shit. I still have to get groceries and make lunch and stuff. I'm just working on the actual CD art today, and then I'm almost done the art, and then I'll be able to actually submit it. I'm so excited. I might do prints of this too. Like, I might do small prints of it if there's enough interest for it. Or this will be like what's on the t-shirt. Like, I don't even know if it'll work out in print. What time is it? It's 3:25. Where? So this one? Like, that could be a cool poster, like a little print, or a sticker even. Because I was just gonna do plain stickers with just like the logo outline, but actually I'm gonna save as. So I'm getting kind of hungry now. Whoa. That would be a dope ass sticker. And for this one, I could put my name on it, but... Oh, I forgot. You know what I forgot is the fucking line. I was gonna put a line. Okay, wait. Where's the center point? There we go. 0. Right there. Swing. Sorry. Okay. What do we think? Line, no line? Probably no line. I think it's a concept, right? Mind over matter. The mind is over matter. It's like one of those, you know those word puzzles? Where it's like a weird word and you have to guess what it actually is saying? Anyways. Save it, export it. Cool. It's a wicked sticker, dude. Put that on all my shit. Okay. Now we just gotta do recent CD. I did not. Did I not? Oh my god. Okay, wait. I'm gonna fall the fuck asleep right now. I'm so tired. Okay. Label. Boink. Wait, you're telling me I need one for both sides? Shit, dude. A shit. Also, why the fuck they gotta make it so small? I can't even see it. My eyes hurt. Why? Why? Okay. Oh, I was so close to being done today, but anyways, I'll probably finish it up another day because I'm tired and I'm hungry. But hey, we heckin' did it. I mean, the vinyl's gonna take longer anyways because I have so much more work to do, but... Oh my goodness gracious me. Nope, don't show you my OBS. Okay, let's see. Who we gonna raid? We got a lot of people in here for an art stream. That's awesome. Yo, why is Ari on this early? What the hell? Ooh. My French friend is on, and he's apparently doing some polymer clay work. That's so cool. He's French though, but you guys can probably hang out anyways. All right, here's the raid call. And then I'll see you guys later this week. I'll be doing more music streams. Hopefully I won't be so freaking tired. But it's a rainy day and I'm working on art, and art puts me to sleep. So, thanks for all your input today. It was really, really helpful, chat. I couldn't have done it without you. I mean, I could have, but it wouldn't have been as fun. Or as fast, honestly. But yeah, I'll see you next time.
Bye.